All right. Hi, everybody. Welcome to this episode of Move with the Military. And we're back here with Annie Sovereign. She is a realtor with Worth Clark Realty down in the DFW, Dallas Fort Worth, by, I always say Jazz and B, but JS and B, Fort Worth. And so thank you, Annie, for joining us again.
Yes, I'm happy to be here. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Always a pleasure. So you are part of a unique program that adds to really the benefits that our military members can take advantage of. That not only do they have the VA loan with no money down, but there's so many different ways you're telling me that you're structuring offers and contracts that almost pays the military member, the veteran, to buy a house.
Yes. So through Homes for Heroes, that it's a national program. It was started after 9/11. It helps military families when they're purchasing, but also teachers, first responders, healthcare professionals, anybody who's out there serving the community. It's our way of giving back and saying thank you for everything that you do. And so in DFW specifically, I've been able to help a number of families by using the Homes for Heroes benefit, which is a reward, but also just structuring deals to make it make sense for them. One example I've got a client who's under contract right now. They purchased yes, it's great. They purchased a property for $500,000. They're taking advantage of their VA benefits, and they're paying $5,000 in earnest money. We're basically doing $150 for a 7-day option. With their inspection's going to cost about $450. Also, anytime you use a VA loan, you have to make sure that you get a termite inspection. But what we're doing is we're asking the seller to pay $10,000 in seller's concessions, and it is going to refund almost all of their earnest money. And then through the Homes for Heroes benefit, they're going to get a check for $3,500 from Homes for Heroes. So it's our way of saying thank you, but their entry fee, we're basically paying it. And then, of course, they'll have to pay for their mortgage, but it's just a great benefit to have when somebody's purchasing a home. So,
It is, and especially if they're active duty, right? I bet,
yes.
because they don't get paid. I think there's a, misconception, especially by civilians, right? There's a misconception that whenever a military member's PCSing, that they get a chunk of change
Yeah.
to move them, and they don't. And so, the closing costs, so that seller concession. The other cool thing is you may have gotten reduced their overall debt because you can use that seller credit to go towards
Yes.
paying off debt, and they can pocket the money, or they could have used that to pay off debt. So it's such a good.
Well, and $10,000 is average that I'm seeing in DFW, but we could absolutely ask for more. So if we needed that to go and use it in another advantageous way, we absolutely can. Right now in DFW, it definitely is a buyer's market. We're seeing houses are sitting on the market a little longer. If we're in a non-competing situation, this scenario is absolutely.
So that's interesting, because when it's a buyer's market, right, you have a lot more flexibility to get creative and ask for
Absolutely.
additional items. Yeah.
Yeah.
So has it been a seller's market? When did it flip? Tell us a little bit about the market down there in DFW.
Well, I mean, for a little over a year now, I feel like we've been in this like buyer space. There are pockets of DFW that this might not work, but it really just depends on one, the way that houses are priced. So the best thing for me is going in and finding something that might be a little overpriced, has been sitting on the market for a little bit of time, and then really showing up with my negotiation skills to be able to say, okay, the reason why this is not selling is because here are some comps to support the fact that it's priced a little high, but also then coming in with those seller's concessions. And when the seller's in a position where they need to get rid of a property, they're a little discouraged because it sat on the market for a little too long, then we can really take advantage of these benefits that, asking them to pay for closing costs is not unheard of in this market.
No,
So,
I mean, it's pretty common
yeah,
across the board anymore. I know at one point in time it was not, but it's fairly common.
Yeah.
So that's phenomenal. The Homes for Heroes program, how long have you been associated with them?
About 6 years. So I've given back over $80,000 in rewards to heroes. It's my favorite thing about my job is,
$80,000, people. That's
yeah,
unbelievable. That's
yeah.
big
I've
money.
served so many heroes and their families and, walked them through the transition of moving and relocating. And sometimes that's a little stressful. And so, not every situation is the same, but that added benefit, they could use that to pay for furniture when they're moving or, I mean, anything. It's free. It doesn't cost them a thing to get it. They just have to make sure that, they're using an affiliate. So,
Yeah, so
yeah.
an affiliate of Homes for Heroes, and especially first time home buyers. I would imagine that
Yeah.
program is so helpful. You don't want to see them empty their savings for closing costs, down payment, moving, just all the things, right? And so not even a little, that chunk of change, after closing is such a blessing that you're giving to your clients. That's phenomenal.
Yeah. And they're shocked because they don't know that it's free. They don't know that the benefit exists. There's not a lot of people talking about it. So it's, platforms and partnerships like this that make that we're just able to spread the word. And that's what we want. We want people to know that there's things out there for them that can really help support them. So
Absolutely. Well, and I think when we were talking before we went live here, we're also talking about you can couple all of these with down payment assistance programs as well.
absolutely.
Which,
Yep.
I mean, it's like let's just stack, take advantage of what's out there. At the end of the day, is the storyline, right? The message.
Yeah,
Take advantage of what's out there. Stack them all. Know somebody that understands the programs and understands what's out there.
absolutely. Yep. I'm sorry, my email's
That means me. If we were live, we would say, "Well, look, they're already pinging you." Kenny, always a pleasure. We're going to continue to dive in. We talked about a little bit with the market and it being a buyer's market down there. So look forward to extending into talking about the different communities and getting your expertise on that also. Um,
Absolutely.
you're such a blessing to your clients and also
Thank you.
to our network. I feel blessed to connect and always love chatting with you.
Yes, thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely. If you guys are interested in learning more about Homes for Heroes, if you live in the DFW area or you'll be relocating there, either from a military perspective or non-military perspective, Annie's your girl. Check her out. We'll have her contact information. And as always, again, thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.